Hey guys, my name is Dr. Rob Kelly, the Addiction Doctor, along with Jennifer Lovely. This is the Recovery Channel podcast, coming live from San Antonio this morning. It's not too good today. It's overcast and freezing cold. We're on live on Facebook and YouTube, guys. Good to be with you today. Jen, how are we doing?
Doing well, other than my eyes are a little runny today, so I'm wiping my eyes a lot in case you guys care. But other than that, I'm doing really well. Doing good. Awesome. Excited to talk to Daren.
Yes. What have you been up to?
A lot of outdoor play, a lot of work, recovery work, just doing the things that we do, man. You know, living the dream, as you say. Living the dream.
Living the dream instead of dreaming of living.
Yep.
That's what I like to say. It's awesome, absolutely. Yeah, it's been I'm busy over here, but it's not been the weather for the pool, unfortunately. So we've been stuck inside. And yesterday, all the power went off. I'm just about to do something online. The power went off completely. So we're milking around for 35, 40 minutes before the electricity company came. And he walked to the back of the house and said, "You know, this is your breaker." And I went, "Oh, I thought it was this one." He went, "No, click, click." All the lights came on again. What an idiot. What an absolute idiot. I don't know how to do this. I stumble through as much as I can. Guys, Darren Prince is on the show.
Probably stick with recovery.
I know, right? That's the best thing. Darren is on the show, guys. Such a great guy, and he has a great story. And you probably recognize the name, but stick around. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to the show, guys. My name is Dr. Rob, the Addiction Doctor, along with Jennifer Lovely. Our special guest this week is Darren Prince. Morning, Darren. How are you doing?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm great.
Oh, thanks for being on. So for those people who don't know who you are and what you do, just explain to the listeners and viewers exactly what it is you do.
I'm a sports and celebrity agent. I've had a Prince Marketing Group for 26 years now. We represent global icons like Magic Johnson, Hulk Hogan, Sheen, Chevy Chase, Carmen Electra, Denise Richards, many others. And but it's not really why I'm here. You know, my biggest accomplishment far and away is in January, I celebrated 12 and a half years sober from a 24-year opiate addiction. And, you know, I'm just looking to send this message out there as often as possible. I wrote a international best-selling book, Aiming High, with Jen, our mutual friend, Anna David, and my writer, Kristen McGinnis. And it's just been an incredible journey to be able to, you know, show people it doesn't matter what walk of life you come from or you out of jail to Park Avenue or Park Bench, that we're all up for grabs. And it's what you do with your recovery once you find it.
For sure. So talk to me about give me 5 things that have been, I don't know, the most influential in your life that you've done and you have created in your life.
5 things. I mean, it's like I said, the business success is great, but that's more, you know, what I do. I think the ability to help people now for my own recovery journey has far and away, you know, blown up any other accomplishment in my life. I've been blessed to been on some of the biggest talk shows and you know, interviews, podcasts in the world because of this journey, and obviously tying in what I do for a living. And you know, I love when those opportunities come to me because then I can get this message out to the masses. You know, people that really need to hear it, that are living in secret and shame. And the reason I'm in South Carolina today, I'm speaking tonight at Oaks Recovery. And my foundation, Aiming High Foundation, was able to scholarship 5 people that couldn't afford treatment. And to be able to go out and use my Rolodex of celebrities and my database of corporations around the world to continuously raise funds, you know, nothing makes me happier. And I'm going to be at a keynote tonight and get to meet these 5 individuals that I scholared.
Nice. That's beautiful. I love that. So for you, Darren, take us back to the beginning. What we like to do in the show is we like to go back to the beginning. We spend like 10 minutes on it, and then 10 minutes on your journey, and then we're going to get into a solution with some great stuff. So where did it all begin for you with the alcohol and drugs?
For me, it was 14 years old. I was at sleepaway camp. And, you know, the isms were there before sleepaway camp because I never felt a part of it. I always felt different. I never felt comfortable in my own skin. A lot of anxiety. And I just think I was a prime candidate at that time in my life. I had horrible stomach pains one night from being in camp, and the counselor took me to see the nurse, and she gave me this green liquid. I had no idea what it was, but I felt like Superman. As bad as it tasted, all the inadequacies and inferiority complex went away. To being teased for supposedly having learning disabled and very slow in school. I felt equal. I felt just as smart as everybody else, and got back to the bunk, and I was the social butterfly with the guys. I was flirting with the girls next door, and things I never did before. And the next day I did everything I had to do in camp, and that next night I had no more stomach pain, but I knew I wanted more of it. So I lied to the counselor and to the nurse, and for 3 weeks I did this every night until my mom and dad found out I was taking liquid Demerol, and that started the journey at 14.
Wow. So where did it go from there?
From there, a lot of people, when I speak, they hate on the nurse. I said, don't, because it would have happened anyway. 3 months after that, I had wisdom teeth removed at a dentist, and my mom gave me 3 pills. I had no idea what they were. I'm swollen, I'm in pain, and that same feeling came back. And I'm on the phone calling up all my friends, and thinking I've got the greatest ideas in life. And 2 days later, the pills were gone, and I felt like Superman, and I was devastated once I took the last of the pills. Had no idea there were extra strength Vicodin. So that very night, I grabbed my cheek and I lied to my mom, and I put on the crocodile tears. I said, we got to go back to the dentist. I think I have a bad infection. The pain's unbearable. As a loving mother who wants to see their child suffer in that situation, she took me back, and the dentist, believed my own line of bull crap, and wrote another couple of days of Vicodin extra strength. And for there, I was off to the races for the next 6 or 7 years, especially because I had a very successful business. So I started a baseball card company that I was selling to stockbrokers and Wall Street execs and corporations and, high-end, very wealthy collectors. And, at 16 years old, being able to have access to anything that I wanted or needed, and making a couple $100,000 a year in 1986 at that age was unheard of. So whatever I wanted, it was at my disposal.
Wow.
That's crazy. Sometimes wealth and success mask alcoholism and addiction. I know it did with me, because I got away with so much for so long. But I had the money to do it. It was a lot easier when I didn't have the money, I've got to admit, but it masked it. How was the family around you when you was going through this? Was they with you, or did they just sort of stand back?
Well, I mean, a lot of people, including my own family, was blinded by it, because, when you look at the success, especially at that age, it's like, he's just experimenting like any young teens do. But when it really all hit a brick wall was at 21. I was arrested 4 times in 6 months. And it was the first time I was ever in trouble, twice for possession charges, not for distribution. I was just the generous guy that I wanted to, pay for everybody, because, I was so insecure. I wanted all the friendships. So I was the one that would buy all the drugs and the party supplies. And once I was arrested at a concert, another time sitting in a car with a bunch of my friends in a parking lot at a club. And, they knew there was a problem then, but again, I didn't think it was. I just thought it was bad luck. I was the wrong place at the wrong time, and my friend should have been popped, not me. And I was put into a program called the Alliance, an outpatient group for a year. And the minute I came out, I was off and running again. And 2 days later, I got in a horrific car accident. My friend Dave and I went to the city, fell asleep behind the wheel. We were drinking mind eraser shots and taking Xanax, and blacked out. And next thing I know, I woke up in the hospital with 90 stitches in my face, and my mom and dad there were tears running down their face. Like, he just completed this program. Like, what the heck is going on? What do we do? And, fast forward 17 more years of punishment until I truly found my bottom.
Yeah. So, Daren, I come into the program. My qualifiers are both of my children. They both went through heroin addiction at the same time for about 7 or 8 years, about 16 rehabs, jail, the same story.
Yeah.
But I come into it from the parents' point of view. So did your parents go through any program or do any work around their relationship to you in terms of their own healing, and as all of this is occurring?
No, I mean, we had family therapists that would speak to my individual therapist, and there was sometimes family counseling. But I don't. Everybody says something's from a product of your upbringing. I mean, I might have been sheltered a little bit too much by my mom. As a mama's boy, I didn't like it as I got older, and she did the best she can, and I love her for it. I know a lot of kids that were mama's boys, and they didn't go into drugs and alcohol and substance abuse. So I blame it within Darren Prince. What within Darren Prince caused me to behave that way and not feel enough? Why did I have to put something in my system always to be somebody that I'm not? So as long as they saw that I was in a happier place, a better place, of course, they would check in with the therapist and the doctors and see where I was at. And, I think if I was in a better place, then they were in a better place.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Tell me your worst and your best moment in life to date.
Best or my worst? It's a great question. I think the worst moment could have been my overdose in Las Vegas, All-Star Weekend in 2007. I was with Dennis Rodman, and he was in his hotel suite, and I woke up with a horrible case of bronchitis, and the doctor gave me prescriptions for what I really wanted to get, which were Percocets and Tussie and X cough syrup. And we were there with Steve Simon from my office to celebrate a big television deal we did with Mark Cuban for Dennis. And, I had other plans. And, these guys want to come into my room. I called my then wife. I was married, and I asked her to order me 3 vodka Red Bull cranberries. And within 2 minutes, between half the Tussie and X and snorting a few of the pills, I was on the ground, foaming at the mouth, heart palpitations, praying to God, don't take me. I'll never do this again. And to see the look on Steve and the business people's face when they came to my door to get me to go out with paramedics and oxygen mask, needles in my arm, and EKG machine. Talk about like the lowest of low. And it still didn't slow me down, but it made me somewhat accountable to speak to an addiction psychiatrist the next week. So it was somewhat of awakening, but certainly that's when you talk about being really close to spiritually bankrupt. And then I think the best moment, honestly, and I've had so many career highlights in business, but nothing is like July 2nd, 2008, when I fell on my knees calling out to God, hysterically crying. I couldn't do it anymore. I'll give up the money, the notoriety, the business, the recognition, the fame. I don't even care. And, I had a white light moment, similar to what you heard what happened to Dr. Bill in the hospital in Akron, because it wasn't me that stood up. A higher power came into my life. So what I thought at that moment was the worst day of my life now turned out to be one of my very best.
Yeah, beautiful. So, we're in the midst of we're in the middle of a pandemic, in the middle of a crisis of an opioid, addiction crisis that we have in the world, a pandemic of its own. And I feel like there is something deeper that wants to be expressed with addicts, with alcoholics. Yeah. What was the thing that you wanted deeply to be able to express that you couldn't?
When I was using,
mm-hmm.
I just think I had imposter syndrome, and I think a lot of people do. And I lived imposter syndrome for 23 years. I had the dream job. The girls wanted to be around me. Every guy wanted to be in the super agent life, and I didn't feel worthy of it for a second. I had to do what I had to do to just to first network and be a superstar in the industry. And then it got to a point I didn't feel worthy of any of it. I knew I was a complete fraud. And, until obviously July 2nd, 2008 came, and I had to go back and do the road work. I had to work the 12 steps. I had to be accountable, take an action, and find acceptance in everything and not point the fingers at anybody but Darren Prince. And I think a lot of people are dealing with that right now. I speak to so many from DMs and Facebook messages and my website, and sometimes when I do talk shows and radio with call in, it's not just substance abuse, it's depression, it's anxiety, it's mental health, it's there's people, bipolar, suicidal thoughts. And I just think no matter what it is, it's a matter of just raising your hand, speaking up, and just telling someone that you're going through a very dark place, and understand there's a lot more people out there dealing with what you're dealing with that are keeping it inside. And, during a pandemic, you truly have the best opportunity to create this incredible version of yourself, because we're all kind of on the same playing field with the world being slowed down the way that it has been. And, if you could take that action and have the courage to speak to somebody and find that new life that you deserve, when this whole thing's over, it's going to be the greatest thing you've ever done for yourself in your entire life.
Yeah.
I think the COVID has made people look at themselves. And a lot of people go through life with blinkers on, and it's so quick, and they're doing this, and before they know what date is, they're almost 50. And I think this illness has come to everybody, and because everyone can't leave the house or do whatever, they're taking a good close look at themselves. That's the good side of it. The bad side, obviously, alcoholism and alcohol being sold is up by about 55%. Drugs and all that, they're all sky high, which is absolutely crazy. But I want to really, before we move on, I want to really get to that July the 2nd, 2008, of when you asked or cried out for help. What happened? Was there an instant thing that came to you, or was there an answer straight away, or was that just the start of your journey and then you had to go?
So about 36 hours earlier, my uncle Stu, who's in the fellowship, and his then girlfriend Andrea were visiting my mom in New Jersey, and she knew I was going through ups and downs and challenges and a struggle with it, but I never met his girlfriend before. And she came into my condo, and it was magical, because she asked me if I was okay. I didn't look right. I was bloated, 25 pounds heavier, white, my bags under my eyes, bloodshot. And I told her I felt completely comfortable. And so I think that was almost my first awakening. And, she's like, do you realize that you're an addict? Your life's unmanageable. I said, yeah. She's like, do you realize that no matter what you've accomplished outside this home, that the disease of addiction does not discriminate? And I said, yeah. And she's like, are you ready to really make a change? Because I can help you get clean and sober, but you got to listen to me. And I said, I'm desperate. Absolutely. So on that 36 hour, was around 7 in the evening on July 2nd. And I got off all the Suboxone and everything else that it was on, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I called them after the gym. I was miserable, vomiting, upset stomach, all the great things that come along with detoxing. I said, I'm calling the damn doctor to get what I really want to get. And they both started yelling at me, telling me it's the disease talking. I got to put my ego aside and get myself to a 12-step meeting. I'm in New York City, go online and find one. And I didn't want to hear it. I was like, no, I've been to these stupid meetings before. I can't identify with these people. I can't relate. And when I went into the bathroom and I locked the door, my then wife was hysterically crying, thinking I was going to do something traumatic to myself. And I was trying to find any sort of non-narcotic sort of anxiety pill to help with the cravings. And out of one of the bottles came 2 extra strength Vicodins. And we knew that we cleared out all the medicine cabinets of the opiates. So it was shocking that they were there. And, for a minute, it seemed like it was a gift from God. It was just what I needed to get that relief. But then it came over me, and I just, as Dr. Drew said, I had that turn, and I fell to my knees, shaking, trembling, and crying, and with the pills in my left hand. And the minute I called out, I felt a burning sensation over my right shoulder that I never forget. Every time I speak, I still get chills, and I heard in my right ear that I've got you and you're ready. And my higher power, like I like to refer to as God, stood me up in that very moment and flushed the pills, because I went up on a computer 30 seconds later looking for a 12-step meeting. There was no Ubers back then, and in a taxi cab ride over, I'm looking up at the sky on a gorgeous summer night saying, oh my gosh, for the first time in my life, I wanted to stay sober more than I wanted to get high. And when I walked into that 12-step room in the upper 80s, 150, 200 addicts and alcoholics who were once for hopeless state of mind. And I was finally there. I was finally present. I was finally at a meeting where I knew I needed to be. And most importantly, I wanted to be. And I heard for the first time the leader say, is anybody new or coming back? And, my hand went right up, no ego. And I knew I was beaten, broken, defeated. And I have one last shot, because, there was no reason why Darren Prince was spared in that moment to wind up in a church within 30 minutes basement, because I had a lot bigger and better important things I thought to myself. And these people, there must have been 10, 12 spiritual brothers and sisters that when I put my hand up and said, I'm sick, I'm suffering, I'm suicidal. I need your guys' help. I'm clean for 36 hours. And they embraced me and showed me a love and a warmth and a connection that I never felt in my entire life. I just knew I needed more of it. And I started hearing these shares. And because I came accountable, ready, broken, with the gift of desperation for the first time in my life, I took everything in like a sponge. And it's like I said, I have not looked back since. Of course, there's challenges and obstacles and so many things that go along with it. But I stuck with the winners. You know, a lot of them taught me, you want what we have, then you do what we do. You know, take a cotton out of yours, put it in your mouth because you don't know nothing. And I just shut up and listened and, took it all in and realized that these people had what I wanted. As successful as I was in the business world, and I love all my clients near and dear like family, but these slowly became my heroes. These slowly became my role models, my Hall of Famers, my world champions that I need to take a piece from every single person, share in their game, and put it into my core to start putting the pieces back to my life. And then I got my sponsor, Steve Delaval, and so many other spiritual brothers and sisters in New Jersey, because I was, tri-state at that time. And it felt like I was going to the most amazing high school reunion every single day. And slowly but surely, when I hit 90 days, I started putting my hands up a little bit uncomfortably and sharing. But I knew I needed to, because, I was told it's not about me. I'm not the most important person in the room anymore. Once I put together a little bit of time, it's my responsibility to give that back to other people. And that's what I started doing.
Wow. That made me cry. I mean, my eyes are watering, but that really made me cry because I could relate, because I know that when I walked into those rooms in 2012 with my kids, I needed my higher power more than anything to get through it, because it was so painful to watch my kids go through that. And I needed my own work to do to deal with that. But the thing that stood out the most, Darren, was that these rooms create space for people to thrive. And there's a word for that. There's a Yiddish word called zimzum. And zimzum means a place for people to thrive. And what I'm really moved by is that you yourself create zimzum in the world.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that really happened because of Anna, David, and my vision with the book Aiming High. It was about a year after my dad passed away, which was the toughest thing I've been through in recovery. And, I had a beautiful moment with him when he was in the hospital, and he was in perfect health for 81 years. And, to be able to go through a sudden loss of a father, especially one that was so influential in my life, and to be able to give him my last words when he said he was ready to pass, that I said, Dad, this experience has been so incredible in my recovery that I'm going through the most uncomfortable time of my life, never feeling so comfortable. That a single thought taken out is such a miracle, because I hear so many people in the rooms that were out there when they lost a mother, father, sister, brother, husband, wife. And I said, so what I'm going to do, I said, I'm going to make you a promise. I said, I'm going to touch the world with this message. I said, I don't know when, I don't know how, but I need other people to understand that you can get through the worst crap in life in recovery, or not even in recovery, and not have to go to the bottle or pills and numb yourself. Because when you feel and it's real, you actually heal. When you're numbing, you don't. And, all these incredible, my friend Bruce, who passed away recently, had over 30 years, Bruce R., I loved him dearly. Used to say they're called GMCs, the God Managed Coincidences. And I had so many come after my dad passed. And then when I met Anna, and she's like, your story's so passionate. She goes, even when you speak to me, she goes, it's incredible. She's like, have you ever thought about writing a book? And I said, yeah, but I don't want to write about the business. That's not what's important to me. I said, I'm nobody special in the agent world. The media can say whatever they want. It's my clients that have accomplished incredible accolades and world championship and awards. I just, learned to be a good people person, networker, negotiator. I said, what means the most to me is recovery. And she goes, why don't you write a book about taking people on the fly in the wall journey of the agent life and what it was like from the hell of addiction to the beauty of spiritual recovery? And the minute the book came out, it was incredible. I mean, all the big talk shows, Chris Cuomo's a good friend, put me on there, Extra, Dr. Oz. It's just been amazing. And that's really allowed me to have the platform that I have now to push this out to the masses and be so comfortable with it. And, it wasn't easy at first. My mom, I've got some people that work for me, dear friends, that thought it was a little bit risky, but I knew it wasn't a risk to write the book because number one, I own my own agency. And number two, when my biggest and most important client and dearest friend, Urban Magic Johnson, said he would write the forward because he knew this book was going to help change lives, I was like, these guys have seen me at my worst. And now they have the privilege of seeing at my best. And everybody's been through something. And, within weeks when it became an international bestseller and the emails and the messages and we saw the impact it had, it hasn't slowed down. And the book's over 2 years old. And there's not a day that goes by where there's not multiple emails, people contacting me. And this is what's given me the self-worth that I was struggling for my entire life.
I don't think the truth and being direct
given by doing
the truth and being direct will always sell, and that's why your book is still selling like crazy. There's a couple of things that and the reasons why people are dying in 12-step rooms. One of them is silence. Nobody's talking about it like they should be. The aggressive type, get down there. This is how it is. Tell the truth. If you don't get well, you're going to die. I tell parents that all the time. And the other one is sugarcoating stuff. Let's be honest. We have a deadly disease. There is no cure. We have a daily reprieve, and a reprieve means stay of execution. We're in the shit here, guys, if we don't get our stuff together. And that's what me and Jen created a couple of businesses on. We have a 97% success rate. The reason why we have a 97% when other people are at 5% is because we go back to the scene of the crime and we clear that trauma up. There's always trauma, whether it's alcoholism. And secondly, we can't miss out the brain science. That's what I study. I study neuroplasticity, neuropathways, and brain science regarding addiction. And we came together to create not only this podcast, because there's a better understanding today of, yes, you can recover from this bullshit that you're going through, period. End of story, 100% guaranteed if you do the thing right. And the second is, if you want to recover in silence, awesome. We're not one of those guys. We're not them people, me and Jennifer. We're saying what you're thinking, the guys at home, and that's okay. But we need to talk more. We need to get out more and tell people. And I mean, today, right on this show right now, someone click on it right now. I might be the only face that they see of recovery today. And if I'm not being honest with them and excited about the program, listen, when I first came in 33 years ago, Darren, he said, hey, listen, be careful of that pink cloud. I've been on a pink fucking cloud for 33 years and I ain't coming off it. And this is what other people in AA rooms and NA rooms need to listen to is, look, this is awesome. Look what we can do when we're sober. We're not just sitting there doing the same old shit. No, we're gonna be more inspiring to people. I go to meetings for one thing. I go to meetings to bear witness to the still suffering alcoholic. I don't need a meeting. I've never needed.
Why I go?
You're gonna keep you sober.
I go to meetings to find out what happens to people that stop going to meetings.
Right? Exactly, and it will happen.
My answer with that. They either get locked up, covered up, or pray to God they get cleaned up. And there's no, so it comes first in my life. I've been to more meetings around the world, I think, than almost anybody in the history of this 86-year fellowship. Sydney, Australia, London, Tokyo, Japan, Monaco. The list goes on and on and on. Maui, Honolulu. And I don't say it to impress. It's more to impress upon. That's how important this is to me. I don't care if I'm on a vacation, a business trip. I need that connection constantly. I got to keep my memory fresh because I can't stay sober on yesterday's sobriety. That was good for yesterday. If you've got people listening now that have 1 day or 10 years or 30 years, nobody's better than anybody else. Nobody's better than anyone else. We got the moment of right now,
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for that. I, when my kids first went into recovery, one of the things that I just would blurt out loud because there's so much shame around, drug addiction is that my kids are addicts, period. They're in recovery right now. They're in a recovery, whichever number it was, it didn't matter. But I said it out loud because there is so much shame. It's so funny. I was listening to something the other day, and they were saying that there was a woman that had cancer. She got breast cancer while she was in a recovery. And she said it was easier to tell people and talk to people about having breast cancer than it is to talk about recovery. Yeah. And that's heartbreaking for me. Because recovery is a beautiful thing. There's no shame in it. So talk to me about how you support, how do you help other people? I know that you have a foundation that helps people get into recovery. How does that work, Daren?
So basically the aiminghighfoundation.org, we raise funds privately. We get random donations. I have personally reached out to different treatment centers. Tim Ryan connected me with an old friend, Brian Reddy, today at Oaks. And I also do a lot with Banyan treatment centers. We try to help people get scholarship there. New Jersey's Turning Point is another one that's near and dear to me. And then I'm also affiliated with this other incredible platform called Elite Home Detox, which is more for corporate that doesn't want to deal with the treatment center. We can actually be detoxed by nurse and doctors in your home, but then I put you right into a 12-step fellowship because, as you know, it's the aftercare. Right. Anybody can sit in a treatment center for a week, 30 days, 28 days, and be good to go. When you got to get out there and deal with earth people and life on life's terms, a whole different ballgame.
I love that idea. I'll tell you why I love that idea for two reasons. Most treatment centers that I know of, and it's my opinion because I've been through it, they take you in on detox and they detox you for 3 days. And then they say, we want to do your 30-day program. And they go, well, I don't want to do it. And then they go, well, in that case, your insurance isn't going to pay for the detox. You owe us 10 grand. Sick of hearing that stuff. So that sounds awesome. We don't really need to be. If you're locked up for 30, 60, 90 days and nothing changes, nothing changes.
Nothing changes.
I relapsed 3 times on the way back home from treatment centers, Daren. On the way back home, the drive back home, I'm drinking. Going, that was pretty good. I feel a lot better.
I think it's going to be different this time.
Right? Like if nothing changes, nothing changes. It's not going to be different this time. It's going to be exactly the same. This is what we believe. So we believe in detox. The best way possible. But then we believe if you're not treating, like this is what me and Jen do, telehealth, if you're not treating the addict or alcoholic in his own home, with his own environment every single day, you're losing it. Neural pathways have to be changed on a daily basis. So there's no point in sticking you away for a bit and then sticking you back in the house that's sick because you've dragged the wife into it. You've dragged the kids into your illness. So if you start to change and learn this great language of recovery, stick you back in the house that hasn't changed, guess what's going to happen? That's why there's a 5% success rate in treatment centers. It needs to be done in their own environment. I'm a great believer in that.
Yeah, and then the amazing thing is, because I've done 12-step calls, when you see a home with an addict, whether it's the husband, wife, alcoholic, and the kids, the home is dead.
Yeah.
It's just got that negative, stale energy. But, and I get emotional even talking about this because I've been back in those homes 3-4 months later.
Yeah.
And somebody's got a foundation. And that home comes alive. And it's almost like you could feel the rainbow and the sunshine and the kids.
Yeah.
Feel it. And the spouse and significant others. The greatest thing in the world. That's why we do what we do. We were rescued from hell, charged up to go back in and grab the others out of it, Yeah,
it's so true. Because that, me and Jen often say, and Jen more than me really when we first met, is look, the alcohol and drugs, it's a given. You won't drink or use again. We've got you. Now let's put your family back together. Now let's bring the children back to dad who's estranged after 3 months because he was drinking and using. That's the stuff that we believe in, putting families back together. That I know I speak for Jen here, that's our payment in full. We don't get involved in the finances, but when you see, when I got a text the other day saying, thank you so much, you saved my kid's life, and we had a man and wife, me and Jen, with us for 6 months. When they write letters to us going, this is absolutely phenomenal, that's the stuff. It's not the alcohol and drugs. It can be anything, sex, it could be anything, food. Let's get the family back together because that's what I suffered from, Daren. They took my kids off me, ages 1 and 3, and I never saw them for 20 odd years. And dad was a drunk, and that's what they kept telling him, and that hurt me. So we went on a vengeance to get families back together. You stand more of a chance if you're back with your family than if you're on your own, in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Well, we are blessed that we're part of a fellowship that if you do it right one day at a time, you can push the reset button on your life. You know, and you know, redemption would be an understatement. But you know, again, it's one day at a time. You got to stick with it. I love the pink parrot, the pink cloud reference, because I still tell people to this day, you're going to have a day, or we all have a day. You might need a little bit of a pink parachute, because that's what's so great about this. But when you can get your recovery going like lasagna, as my sponsor Steve always taught me, that's the perfect sweet spot. When it's just like that, you know. And it takes a while, but when something crazy happens that would have had you go back out and you're able to get through it just like that, that's how your spiritual core gets stronger and stronger. And you do that connection on a given day. When there were a lot of meetings in California and New Jersey, I just kept putting those meetings in the banks, as I was told. I deposited in my spiritual bank, because I knew at a certain point I was going to have to draw upon it. And, I still do my Zoom meetings. I do as many interviews as I can, speak in engagement, speak to as many randoms that reach out for me. And I drop everything. It doesn't matter if somebody from England, and I get so many DMs on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and my website. Like, my office knows, my citizens know. They'll send me the whatever it is right away. And unless I'm on an airplane for something, I will make sure I find time to speak to that person directly, because that's the promise I made to my God and my higher power. And that's what keeps my foundation of recovery, unshakable. We can't keep what we have unless we give it away to others. And then that's the other person's responsibility that we get sober. Once they get a little bit of time, you got to do the same thing.
Yeah. And really what I hear is that you would rather be free than safe.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. It's the feeling of freedom that I have every single day when I wake up and go to bed and I get on my knees and pray to God for another day sober is just, it's unbelievable. I did my boy Omar the Rockstar, it's a big podcast. I did his maybe a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. And I told him the truth. I said, man, if I lost the business, Prince Marketing Group, the clients all retired, or God forbid something happened to them, I'd be good if I lost the money. It wouldn't even matter, because I found myself. I found that feeling of pure freedom and minimizing any levels of stress and learning to love certain people from a distance that can bring me up my spiritual beam a lot quicker than I'll bring them to my way of life. And I just need to stay there as often as possible. But when you find yourself, when you truly find your inner self, what makes you happy, what gives you purpose, it's an unexplainable feeling that most people on earth never get to experience, because they're so caught up with the success, the money, whatever it might be, their goals. And there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, because I've had the success, I've made and lost millions twice in my life. I love having financial independence, be able to take care of people. But I truly am at that stage where, if something was to happen, I could tell you honestly, I'd be good. I would find something to truly immerse myself more in the field of recovery. And it's just, it's an unexplainable feeling, because, even the Daren from 5-10 years ago never would have told you that. But it's that freedom. When you get that freedom, you just want more of it. That's the new drug that I just need, that feeling as often as possible.
Yeah. And, I tell people all the time that I'm imagining like the chicken inside the egg and it wanting to come out. That's our soul. When we're like wrestling, trying to come out, and things are happening and we're having crises and shit's flying, right? That's our soul wanting something more for our life.
Yep.
And it's hard for people to really get that. It really is hard, because they are so focused on the career, the success and the goals and the money and the thing. But when we stop and we listen to our soul, we listen to our inner, the God within us, it allows us to begin having that freedom. So what is next for you, Daren? What's next for you? I mean, you've done so much, right? So in the way of recovery, or what would you like to see go differently for recovery?
I mean, it's anything next is recovery. My business is going to take care of itself. I got a great team of agents, my assistants, and knock on wood, thank God, we've had the best year we ever had for Prince Marketing Group. And that's, like I said, it's my career. But for recovery, there's probably another book like Anna and I talked about. We didn't know we don't know what angle yet, but there's a couple ideas that we have. And I think it's just getting out there, speaking as much as possible, pushing this message as much as possible, getting on podcasts like yours, TV shows, whatever I can to get this out there, because there's nothing else that makes me happier. I mean, I could close a huge business deal tomorrow. That's good and great. It allows me to take care of people that I care about. But this is where it's at for me. You know, I found my soul on this journey.
Yeah.
I truly have found my purpose in life.
Oh.
That I just want more of it. I want to be able to, you know, inspire all these teens that are struggling. I was blessed to be at the White House when President Trump was there 3 times for the opiate summit, and to, you know, help speak to kids and even young adults that are struggling. That's what I want to focus on. I mean, that's what, like I said, that's what makes me me. That's what makes me tick, and that's what makes me get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah. I mean, I have a hope and a dream that we can have recovery for everyone, that my kids, like the legacy that I create is that recovery is for everyone, not just the people that are suffering from, you know, opioid addiction or alcoholism, right? That we all can recover. And the more that I'm in this work, the more I see that the biggest deficit is spirit, being connected to our spirit, being connected to something higher than ourselves. And it's heartbreaking, you know, it's heartbreaking. But to be able to give that gift to others, for them to find it is my hope, right? I just watched American Relapse. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen it.
It's heartbreaking, right? And you know, the rehabs and the going in and the going out and people not having that hope. My hope is that we can begin to give people what you're giving, right? The Zim, right? And that to me is everything.
I was talking to Brian Reddy last night, the founder of Oaks. He picked me up at the airport. I said, you know, for me, it isn't just substance abuse and alcohol related recovery. It's everybody's. Everybody has some level of trauma in their life, or something that went wrong, issues with their mom, issues with their dad, issues with both, abandonment, adoption, all these things that cause them to tick. And, you know, it's about minimizing the mistakes and eventually coming out of that world or out of that life, so you can live the purposeful life that you've meant to live. Because I have a lot of people in my life, clients and friends, that I know are still stuck from things that have happened to them as children, or you know, something that could have happened traumatic. And, you know, but if somebody's not ready to hear the message, it still doesn't matter, you know. But I like to at least try to plant seeds, because I have seen some progress with a few of them, which is very rewarding. And none of them have any issues with substances. But during this pandemic, it's heartbreaking to see how many people are going down the wrong path and doing things that are compromising, you know, a self-worth, their lifestyle, putting their health at risk, putting, their careers at risk, when so much of it is from deep down in your core, deep down in your soul, issues that have happened that you haven't addressed and they haven't brought to surface yet. So I just pray for as many of them as I can. Eventually they'll have that wake-up call.
Yeah. And you know, the thing is self-love is a revolution. I really believe that self-love is a revolution, because we're going against the of what society teaches. We're going against what we believe, or maybe what our families taught us. We're going against, disobeying the thoughts of ourselves that we're not supposed to love ourselves in that way. And I talk to people all the time. It's like, you would never allow your children to be treated this way. Why would you treat yourself this way? Yeah. And so I think that it's a revolution. It is a revolution to love yourself in the way that, Daren, you're loving yourself. So I'm just so grateful to know you, to meet you, to have this conversation and be in the conversation of recovery. And I really want to say this, honestly, I know you've got all the money you need. I know you do all the things, but if there's anything that we can do, I can do to support your cause, I would love to be a part of that, because you're speaking my language, and it's the deeper language. Yeah.
Thank you. Whatever you guys can do, that means more to me than anything. And, you know, if you can promote aiminghighfoundation.org, and we can keep contributions and donations coming in, that means more than anything. Because tonight's going to be real emotional, that I'm gonna have the ability to meet these 4 or 5 individuals that I was able to scholarship. And wow, I mean, you want to talk about the magic going on? That's it right there. You know, it doesn't get any better.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure what went on, but I got dropped somewhere along the line. I thought you guys had dropped. Thank goodness you didn't. Mark, we've actually run out of time, unfortunately. I'm going to try and get you on again if possible. But tell me about the website and where people can find you around platforms.
So official DarrenPrince.com, DarrenPrince, and at Instagram at agent_DP. If anybody wants to message me there, DM with a address, email, physical address, we are sending out Patrick Anino, my amazing social media manager and sidekick and everything I do. His office ships out hardcover copies of Aiming High all the time, expense free. We cover the shipping, whatever, because if just one person can read that book from listening to me now and I can help change and save a life, that's the goal, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not here to promote and sell books. Plenty of books sold. I didn't write it for the money. I wrote it to help people.
Thank you so much, Darren, for coming on. We appreciate your time, man. And
Thank
I'm going to reach out to you. And just an awesome guy, guys. Thank you so much. And for me, I'd say take it easy, Darren. I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Darren, thanks for being a mensch.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Okay, I'm not sure what went on there. I know. That was crazy. I thought
you get kicked off?
Yeah, well, it actually closed down. The whole system closed down. So I'm not too sure why, you know, when I clicked back on, you were there. But thank God we didn't finish suddenly. Okay, guys, I've run out of time completely. So listen, thank you for joining us. I know there's a few people joining us today. Thank you for your time. And we will see you on Monday at 12 o'clock, I believe, Jen?
Yes.
Okay, guys, take care. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.